Well, hey everybody, Tom Bullington here again with InMotion Realty, joined by Stephen Reed, an agent with InMotion as well. Stephen, how you doing today?
Doing well.
Great. Well, we were talking about before we came on camera about the parade of homes being here in town. We have two homes in the parade that it looks like you visited here this last week. What were your impressions and kind of what was the discussion when you got out to those homes?
Yeah. So I went and I visited the home done by Creative Homes off of General Sieben. It showed really well. And part of their base spec home design, they're doing a lot of universal design, extra wide doorways, just nice flow. So everything you can do first floor. So this one had all first floor living.
Okay.
Living room was nice and big. It was a nice open floor plan with a living room, a dining room, and then the kitchen in the corner, kind of a thing.
Mhm.
Lots of windows, bright light. You get into the bedroom, the master bedroom, like I said, it was all extra wide doorways, and you could easily get a wheelchair around in there. It transitioned really nicely into a bathroom that would be very accessible.
Okay.
Laundry is first floor as well. It was just a really well thought out home. And she was saying that, yeah, the extra wide doors is now a standard from the company. They're just doing that now.
Okay.
And they're sticking with doing a lot of that nice first floor living. So it's nice to see homes that are being created that can age well. They added on another section to the development that kind of stakes behind it, that was not there last year. And you got to see the other home in that other development.
Yes, and so I was able to go with my wife here a couple weeks ago to the Epcon development, which is the Villas at Pleasant development. They are luxury villa homes, and what we were really impressed by is their signature feature is a courtyard.
Oh,
So as you come in, there's the kitchen here off to the left, the model that we saw anyway. And then there's the living space with the fireplace and all of that. But then just off of kind of the dining area is a courtyard area. So you can go out, sit out there, read a book, have a conversation. If you wanted to have kind of an outdoor fire pit or something like that, you could have out there. It's all fenced off.
nice.
It's a little bit different than having a patio, so to speak, where the traditional suburban tract home where there's a patio door and all of that. This is a courtyard, almost like you would see in kind of a suite if you were staying in I want to say like one of those extended stay hotels that
Mhm.
there's kind of a courtyard area out there where people mix around, mill around. That's the feel of it. It's private, but yet it feels like it's very welcoming and
Mhm.
it's just very distinctive. So that was pretty cool. This particular model had an upper floor, but you don't need the upper floor. This one was built with that just to kind of show the example of what
Mhm.
could be there. But just yeah, really, and then again, the wide door openings, the very accessible kitchen, and just very bright and airy and open concept. So we were very impressed by that. And of course, it's
Good.
very dangerous things to look at new construction and think of all the things that you could do there and
Oh
think of
yeah.
how nice it would be to live there and all of that. So we were very impressed. Um, but you were telling me that you had a discussion with one of I believe it was the Creative Homes representative,
Yep.
and she was asking about the Hastings market. And
Yeah.
one of the things that came up was how Hastings has a good chunk of historic homes that's a little bit different than most other communities.
Yeah. Yeah, so Hastings as a town is top 10 oldest cities in Minnesota. I know that I personally, I'm sure Tom has as well, given tours of Civil War era homes. And I would say at least half of the people that I've worked with are, if not specifically looking for a historic home, are specifically, or that's something they're interested in, that they would be willing to live in a historic home,
Right.
um, which is cool. I mean, I'd say what half of downtown qualifies. I mean, half of downtown's in the historic district.
Yes. Yes.
And yeah, and there are good things and there are other things that you've got to take in consideration when you're buying a historic home,
Mhm.
especially in Hastings. there are some standards that you have to follow when you're doing exterior work,
Yes.
which can sometimes affect the interior work, but because we've got the Hastings Preservation Commission, HPC.
Yep.
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 So
Well, it is. It's a great community if you do like history. If you
yeah,
go and you basically go down to the river and work your way west, you can kind of see the different phases of development over the decades.
yeah.
As literally as you're driving west, Pleasant Drive was pretty much the western end of, talk about Pleasant Drive. Pleasant was pretty much the western end of town,
Mm.
the mid to late 1960s. And then you work your way farther west and you look at homes that were built in the 1970s and 80s and so on. So it's kind of fascinating to see the different, and as I've been walking around the neighborhoods for various things, just to kind of see how the progression of time is really captured in the construction of homes.
Yeah.
One of the homes I sold here was not my listing, but one of my sales was built in 1860 down on 4th Street.
Mm-hmm.
And that's before Lincoln was president. So
It's awesome.
you're looking at this and you're just like, wow, and it's very nicely restored and everything. But yeah, so I've sold an 1860 house as well as like an 1864, I believe, home in that same basic neighborhood.
It's crazy.
That's something you can't get in Woodbury.
A lot of the surrounding area has some of that history, but it's not. I mean, we're a river town. I mean, all of downtown, our downtown's kind of weird. It all faces an interior street and not the river, which seems insanely counterintuitive. But when you think about historically, all of that area where we have Levy Park and a parking lot and all that other stuff, that was all dockyards and warehouses and a giant brewery, actually.
Yeah.
So it makes sense then that downtown wouldn't be facing the river, even though now with the way that we're using it, it's kind of a shame that we don't have any river facing buildings down there.
Right.
We will have one soon. I mean, there's the Confluence is getting the new restaurant that's going to overlook the river.
Yes.
So
yes.
We've got that coming in.
Yeah. Well,
So-
it's a great, I think, underscores why we are here in Hastings, why we live here in Hastings, and why it's an attractive place for people to live is the historic nature of it. And it's one of the unique things that we bring to the table here in Hastings that the other, suburbs around us just don't have and won't have. There's no way they can build a river. They can't go back in time and build, homes 160, 170 years ago.
Well, we've even got a Frank Lloyd Wright.
We do.
And I can only think of one other one in Minnesota. I know there's more, but I can only, right off the top of my head, I can only think of one other Frank Lloyd.
Well, Stephen, definitely, I think we've chosen a great community to live and work in. If people wanted to get a hold of you to see one of these beautiful historic homes, how would they get in touch with you?
Either text or call me at 763-232-4846 or just Stephen at InMotionRealty.com.
Okay. And you can learn more about both of us at InMotionRealty.com as well. Again, Tom Bullington with InMotion, 651-402-6356. I'm at Tom at InMotionRealty.com, and all of our information will be on screen here. But yeah, definitely, we are very bullish on Hastings, the past, present, and future of our community. So definitely, if you're out there looking into Hastings and want to know more information about Hastings, please give one of us a call, and we'd be happy to show you around.